A Republican senator has come clean about their plan to deal with the overwhelming evidence against Donald Trump and his efforts to pressure a foreign government into interfering with American elections. Their game plan essentially is to both ignore the actual evidence and then go to Joe Biden, attack Joe Biden, uh, all in an effort, as you're going to see here, to score political points before the Iowa caucuses. In fact, Joni Ernst has the rest. Take a look.
Iowa caucuses, folks. Iowa caucuses are this next Monday evening. And I'm really interested to see how this discussion today informs and influences the Iowa caucus voters, those Democratic caucus goers. Will they be supporting Vice President Biden at this point?
Look, when you look at the polls, Biden's in second when it comes to the Iowa caucus. You have Bernie Sanders having a pretty good lead. So I don't know if they're going to support Joe Biden. The polls say, I don't know. But what does any of that have to do with Donald Trump's impeachment? Well, the Trump defense team just spent the last couple of days just attacking Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. And that's it, really. Look, Joni Ernst has basically just admitted, hey, man, I hope all these attacks against Joe Biden make it so that he loses Iowa caucus. Now, look, I want Joe Biden to lose the Iowa caucus. I want Bernie Sanders to win. But that's because I think Bernie Sanders has a better chance against Donald Trump. In fact, we have tape of Donald Trump back in 2018 talking about how Bernie Sanders be really tough to beat and was really, he thought was really tough to beat or would have been back in 2016. So the last thing they want is somebody like Bernie Sanders winning the nomination and going up against Donald Trump. So it is kind of interesting. But no, what they want and what they're talking about is they're basically saying, we used our time in the impeachment instead of defending Donald Trump from the basically indefensible charges, which I guess they can't really defend Donald Trump on that. So we're just going to use it as a political ploy to attack Joe Biden. That's it. Again, I've got no love for nothing will fundamentally change ever Biden. But come on, she basically said, I wonder how her performance or how our performance will affect the voters. Well, you know what that means? It's a goddamn show for them. It's literally performance art. They don't care at all about real corruption. And which, by the way, what Hunter Biden did was actual corruption. But here's the thing. Unfortunately, it's only of the personal legal kind. Now, what's illegal is what Donald Trump had done. He had violated the Impoundment Control Act, as well as openly called and pressured a foreign government to interfere in U.S. elections that is completely illegal. So you can't actually do that, right? But here's the thing. Republicans don't care. They don't give a crap. They literally sit on a throne of corruption. At least Donald Trump does. It may be a golden throne of corruption. Or that might be a toilet. I don't know. Either way, that's where he tweets from. Like he's the most corrupt president in the history of corrupt presidents. And believe me, we've had a lot of corrupt presidents. And so that's the problem here. And look, this has nothing to do with fighting the so-called swamp. And everybody knows it. Now, there are people that weighed in. This is MSNBC correspondent Garrett Hawk that tweeted this. This is saying the quiet part out loud. They seem to have a history of that. So now either they're really stupid, in which Joni Ernst possibly could be a really dumb person. I don't know for sure. Or it's gotten to the point where no matter what, they don't care about the truth. And so, yes, they say the quiet part loud because who's going to stop them? They have they have control of the Senate. There are, yes, some supposedly squishy senators, Mitt Romney and Lisa Murkowski, some of the others, right? The so-called moderates. They're saying, oh, well, we might call witnesses. Yeah, but even if you do, well, then how's that going to change your vote? It's not going to change your vote. Mitt Romney has shown that he will always vote in favor of Donald Trump. He supports his policy goals. You think they're going to remove a sitting president because of so-called lack of stability? No, of course not. Suzanne Collins, same question, right? No, the only thing that these Republicans care about are their jobs and their access to power. And right now, so long as Donald Trump continues to afford them votes and access to power, they're not going to do a damn thing. They're not going to remove him. I mean, it's comical to think that that impeachment is going to end in any way other than an acquittal for Donald Trump. And so that's the thing, right? And look, I've known this and I've talked about this going into impeachment day one. It's not about acquittal, or it's not about removing the president, because we know he's going to get acquitted. It's about sticking the Republican Party with having to defend Donald Trump's criminal actions, which might have an impact on the votes, on the, maybe not the Iowa caucus, but on the general election votes. And so that's what's important. You do that, you get Republicans on the record of defending this crap, and then you go and you create vicious attack ads. And I know Democrats seem to be unable to do vicious attacks against Democrats are unable to do vicious attacks against Republicans, but they are more than happy to do vicious attacks against progressives. And that's what's going on here. That's what'll happen, of course, during the primary. It seems like Democrats love to play patty cakes, but when it comes to Republicans, again, they go hard against each other. Now, here's the thing. A couple more quotes here. All right. Kaylee Joy Gray, executive editor of the American Independent, said this, quote, "Here's Joni Ernst screaming the quiet part into a bullhorn." Senator John Barrasso also said this, "I was watching Warren and Bernie Sanders and Michael Bennet and Amy Klobuchar, and they were really eyes wide open during that part of it," referring to Trump attorney Pam Bondi's presentation, which focused heavily on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Senator Chris Murphy said as he watched Bondi and other Trump lawyers spend most of the day going after the Bidens, as expected, it became crystal clear Trump was trying to use the trial to do what Ukraine wouldn't, destroy his political rivals. Well, again, nobody expected anything otherwise, because that's what happens when you don't have a real defense. You think they're going to talk about John Bolton? No, absolutely not. You think they're talking about or even incorporate any of the evidence of Donald Trump literally pressuring a foreign government to interfere in our elections? No, of course they're not going to bring that up, because they don't care about that. All they care about is their own power. And Joe Biden, by the way, makes a fantastic, punching bag or voodoo, whatever you want to call it, right? Piñata for these Republicans that literally have no defense. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.